What's up? What's up?
Hey, Massey, how you doing?
Good, good. What's up, everybody? So I'm excited today. We got Mica Callaway here. I hashtag Mica relates. She's an agent that's been killing it. I've had her on a couple of times, so y'all probably kind of know a little bit about her already. But we do these every Thursday at 11 o'clock Eastern time in order to provide tremendous value for the real estate agent that's looking to grow their business and take it to the next level and might need some guidance in that area. So our topic today, um, it is. It's one of the ones I'm telling you, Mika. So just telling you, like I've heard your story, talked to you many times about it in of itself, and I always say you know what I'm saying, like you always you combat king, with any situation. So is using adversity in order to fuel success and in order for you to grow. So like this kind of because of the topic, tell your story how you even got into real estate. I know a lot of people probably already know it, but just kind of catch us up so you can see that whole journey and the process and all of that.
Yes, yes, yes. If you haven't heard before, I got into real estate because of adversity. I told the story once before on one of James's shows that, in all transparency, because I got to be relatable, I basically got a DUI. I was with a pharmaceutical company. I was number one in the nation. I was killing it. I was number one in the nation in 2015, actually. And in January of 2018, I unfortunately got a DUI. I was arrested by somebody that he was the officer that killed Rashad Brooks at the Wendy's off of University. It went public. It was national news. You know what I'm saying? And long story short, I lost everything because I was in my company car when I got the DUI, and the courts were backed up, and basically, when I say I lost everything to um, car, bankruptcy. I had to file bankruptcy, just go through that process with the courts and stuff like that. And I'm actually excited that we are talking about adversity because that was an adverse situation. And I have not been a homeowner and I sell real estate. So I'm actually looking forward to sharing an amazing testimony with you all coming soon about that part of another overcoming situation. Because when you go to lose everything and then you go back to regaining it, and you have more value. You value things that you've lost, you know. And so when I lost that situation, I filed bankruptcy, and I was been renting. I had a cash car, and this year, earlier this year, I was able to be blessed to use some of my EXP shares of stock and bought my car, my BMW, $32,000 cash. That's a blessing to me because I remember when I couldn't do that, you know. So that was a horrible situation that I was able to buy a car. And so just basically going to levels. And so now I'm about to accomplish another piece of success. And that's coming soon. I don't want to say it just yet.
No, so like that journey in of itself, like going through all of that. Like for a lot of people, it can hold you back. It can put you down and get you to the point where you're depressed and you just don't want to move forward. Um, so like it's a lot of agents right now that are trying to get their business up, or maybe they had their business up at one time, and now because the market shifted, they're having problems. They're not selling like they used to. I
Mhm.
remember I spoke to somebody and they was telling me how they was doing really good in 2021, and now 2022 is like their business is way down, and they were trying to figure out what it is to get it back or whatever. But like if you understand when things come up, you got to step up, right?
Mhm.
So like, what are some of the things that you would suggest for people that are like going through? Because I've been seeing you. It almost seems like you more on social media now than ever before. So, like where they say the market is down and you just all over the place. Like
Oh
why
wow.
why do you grind so hard? I guess I could ask that question.
You know what? I grind so hard because of my energy. You said, if you don't mind, I want to talk about that depression part. You said the word depression, and when things get down in the market and stuff. My numbers are not like they used to be. My deals are not like they used to be, honestly, and it's seasonal. So I realize now I've been through all seasons of real estate. Okay, and seasons that I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like COVID. COVID was one of my best years. So I use that as my motivation. That's the catalyst to keep me going, because nobody knew what COVID was going to do to our real estate careers, but it was ending up being one of the best years, best seasons of my real estate career. But the depression piece is important for people to know that now I'm becoming more transparent about my suffering from depression. I am in a healthy, safe place now to share that I've been battling with depression my whole life, and I've been hospitalized twice for depression. And so I'm not on any prescription medications at the time. And because I'm not, I tend to basically take some natural herbs from Goodness Groceries to keep me upbeat and motivated. Goodness Groceries is a natural herb store off South Atlanta Road. And Miss Sue is like a doctor there, but I take things like GABA Max for you to stay encouraged. It's like an inspirational powder. It's natural. So sometimes when people are like, well, she's always happy, it's like I'm taking supplements. So I don't want people to think that, oh my God, that energy level. Sometimes I'm just taking supplements so that I don't get depressed, so that I can get up and go. And that's one of the things that motivates me, is that if you've ever suffered from mental illness, when you deal with depression, it's hard to deal with when you're crying and you have clients that you want to see and take care of. So that's my motivation, is like, I want to get to helping some clients. So I don't get down, I don't get depressed. I take a natural supplement to basically encourage me and uplift me and keep me going. If you want to, you can Google it, GABA Max, GABA Max. And it's a stress reliever. It's keep you calm. It keeps you upbeat, and you mix it in your juice and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, it's one of those things that, we all go through stuff, right? I mean, we all
Yes.
either, we got personal issues, we got family issues, we got, client issues, like we all have those type situations that's happening. However, we might have an outlet for a moment, but it seems that at least when I'm communicating with you, it seems like you're always looking forward, right? Like
I'm
even though there's
hungry. I'm
other stuff.
hunting.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
hunting. Yeah, because one thing about real estate that is no different from the careers I've had before, because I've been in sales my whole career, you have to learn how to hunt. And so you also have to be comfortable with the seasons, because you're going to have one day where you got like 5 clients, then you're going to have a season where you don't have any. And so I will say the number one thing that I do is nurture my database and manage my CRM. If I don't have my CRM managed and I didn't have like the CRM app, that would really drive me nuts, because now, from the time I started, I probably got over 1,000 people in my database, and everybody's at different places in their career. And in their career, as well as different places in their buying process and their listing process. And so if you have an amazing database like you all have, we've experienced with KB Core, you can funnel your database so that you know what's going on. And you may have somebody that said, well, I'm not going to sell till next year. I'm not going to buy till next year. Okay, when you talk to them, okay, so what day is good for me to get back with you next year? And before you know it, next year done went by so fast, and you got somebody you're following up with because your database alerted you that it's time to call, Mr. and Ms. Schamberger, because I got some clients that are not going to buy till February. So that database, I think, is important. You'd be surprised at agents that do not use their database. They don't use their CRM. They don't even send a happy Halloween text or happy Halloween email through automation, which is free.
Yeah, yeah. So like I mean I think that's a huge nugget for anybody that's listening. Managing the database properly. I was actually talking to Mike Reese yesterday, and he was saying that one thing that he has always done is he always emails and his database. He's always reaching out to them. Now, is that something that you do directly, or do you have somebody that kind of help you with that?
So at this season, I do everything directly. I've had an ISA in the past. I had two ISAs before, but now I'm in transition. So I do everything directly, but I use the automation. So, you can go into your system and you can set up your automation to make your touches without you even knowing it. And people will literally respond. They'll respond to emails. You can see that your clients are looking at properties through your CRM. The best tool and the best system is your CRM when it comes down to that. So you can set it up for automation. Now, I do sometimes pick up the phone and call people. Like if I'm looking at my board, like now my board stays in front of me. So I'm a visual person. So you have to write the vision. You got to make it plain. You got to manifest things. So sometimes I'm manifesting things. That's one thing. And also I keep a database, like a folder in my laptop or in my emails of all new construction. Like, you get all these automatic emails. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll slide it into my new construction folder. And then when I get people to call me, they tell me what they want, and I know they want new construction, then I just go open up that and see what they got, you know. But definitely knowing the database, I think is the big piece that I've been running into. And yeah, making sure that you know how to manage the automation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that man, the automation is key, man. Especially if you are working by yourself or something like that,
Mhm.
because it's going to kick in while you're showing the house. It's going to kick in while you're out maybe talking to calling another client or out with the family or whatever.
Mhm.
Speed to lead is so important. So having something that's going to like not only just drip on people. And when we talk about automation, we're not talking about like, hey, this is the list of homes that are coming out. No, this is like
No,
real types, conversation type stuff that's happening.
yeah, it's real type stuff. And I'm gonna just use it to KV Core. I think KV Core is one of the best CRMs. Currently I'm using Chime, and I'm probably gonna go back to KV Core. And I guess because I was on it for so long and it's a free tool that I've learned how to master. I can get a client, they got credit issues, hashtag credit. So I got my credit pool, you know. That's another thing too. If I have people with credit issues now, I have a free tool to help clients with credit. So they like the fact that I'm the resource. Okay, I'm that resource that's like a one-stop shop. The next thing too is automation with your lenders. So the good thing about KV Core was when I get a lead in, it automatically goes to my preferred lender, to Keisha. So she's automatically set up in my KV Core where if the lead comes in, she's calling them to do a pre-approval before sometimes I'm even getting a chance to call them because I'm working with clients.
Yeah.
Partnerships. I mean, leveraging your strategic alliance partnerships with people that you know, love, and trust so they have the same goal as you to get to the closing table.
Love it. Love it. So all right. So let's kind of get into some more stuff. So a lot of times, like you said, you lost your job at a certain time at that particular time, and you're trying to get back up. So and for most real estate agents, their whole goal is to get to $100,000, right? If I get to $100,000 in commission, then
Oh
I'm
yeah.
golden and I'm set, right?
Yeah.
So but it takes work to do that though. Like I'm always
Mhm.
talking to people and saying, all right, so what would it if you was working a regular job, how much time would you have to spend on that job to make that $100,000? You
Mhm.
know, if you're trying to do part-time real estate but make the same amount of money, or the money that that a full-time person to make that, that
Mhm.
stuff just don't really match up very well. I mean, it can
Right.
happen once you start adding leverage, but for you, like what were some of the things like that you did early on to get you in the right mindset to put things in place to hit, I say 100,000. I know you make more than that, but I'm just saying to get to that initial threshold that most agents, get to.
You know what? It's funny you say, you make more than that. This year, I made more money, James, but honestly, I didn't save as much as I should have. So that's another conversation. I will say that I did invest in leads. So last month, I know I had they see that I have 5 closings, right? I want people to know that I invested in some leads with realtor.com. So 2 of those deals came from my realtor.com database. Okay. Knowing how to convert a lead. So that's something that I had to learn early on. Now I'm so savvy on the phone that I'm not afraid to get on the phone. You'd be surprised of agents that are they're afraid to talk, you know? So you got to get comfortable with that phone, you know, and that takes time too, so that you can convert a lead, whether it's a seller or it's actually a buyer. So those are some things that I did do. Most recently, I moved out here to Dallas, Georgia. So I bought some leads in Dallas, Georgia, because I didn't know what it was going to be like. And I paid for my leads in 6 months. So I paid for them in advance. So I did not pay every month. I noticed that when me and some of my agents, my mentees I used to mentor, I'm guilty of this. You pay for leads and you pay for them by the month. Well, if you pay for them by the month and you see your money coming out your account every month and nothing's happening, you get discouraged. You get sad. You're like, this ain't working. Y'all need to cancel them leads. I don't even want to pay for this no more. And your mind is going because you're paying for it every month. So it's a mindset. So what I did was I paid for my leads for the 6 months in advance. So if I have a deal come in and I know I'm about to get $10,000 from that commission, well, I'm trying to find out what percentage of that can I invest in future business? Got that from John Kitchens, you know, and all the coaches. You have to take every commission check and make more business. So I took, it was $1,065 for 6 months worth of leads for one zip code, $1,065, but I got 2 closings out of them. I bought them in March, but I didn't get to my first closing until October. So I was under contract in July for the first time, and then I had to get out of contract with that client and get back into contract because he had some funds that wasn't seasoned. Long story short, I bought the leads in March. So March, April, May, June, July, I'm getting random leads, I'm nurturing them, and I finally get to the closing table the beginning of October with one, and then the other one the next week. So that 1 week, 2 deals came through that totaled about $20-some thousand in commissions. But I paid $1,000 in 6 months. But because I paid it in advance, I didn't look at it every month. It wasn't on my mind. It wasn't on my radar because I paid for them in advance.
Man, I love that because, like, you know, everybody has their own mentality in what I call it, trying to trick your brain, right? You know,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's the same thing, but if you can trick your brain, if you can just drop it down one time and then you just know it, you know, it's so many folks. I mean, we set up like lead funnels for people and things of that nature, and they might do it for like a month, maybe 2 months, and then it's like, hey, can we stop? You know, it's not working. It's like, wait. You really need to give this thing a good at least 3, really about 4 to 6 months.
Well,
For
I was guilty of that, James, you know, because everybody wants instant gratification. There's not any instant gratification in this real estate industry. If you're looking for instant gratification, you need to just go get you a job, clock in, clock out, get your instant check every week. That's not what this business is like. And so that's why I had to learn what worked for me. And I realized if I pay for them monthly, my mindset is going to say, you ain't making no money, this ain't worth it. But when I pay for them in bulk, I make that deposit and then I don't sit there and look for it every month. And like I said, I paid for them in March. I only paid $1,065, but then I got 2 closings that was over 20,000, and it took time to get to the closing table, about 6 months to get there.
look at the return on
And you
that.
only needed one. I only needed one client
Yeah,
to make the return on investment plus some, but I also got that discount because I paid for them in advance.
that's like what is it, 95% return on that? I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that a 95% return on $1,000? Like you would do that all the time. You know, my mind goes from there to like, all right, man, how many more $1,000 can I spend? You know,
Yeah, and that's what happened. The guy from realtor.com, he called me up because honestly, when I got other zip codes that were saturated, I didn't get a return on investment. But this was the first time I paid for them in advance because I looked at a video that somewhere on somebody's Zoom, and they said if you do it monthly, your mindset's going to be looking for gratification every month because it's coming out of your account. But if you do it long term for 6 months and pay them in bulk, which a lot of big brokerages do, then you won't look at it like that. And it was a mindset. But I also know that it depends on the zip code too. So and you take a chance. In business, you take an investment chance, you take a risk. So there are times that I bought leads and I didn't get any return on investment and I lost. But it didn't mean that they were not good. It wasn't a good company. It was not the right zip code. I probably didn't sit down and take time to talk to them on the phone. I have to hold myself accountable.
I mean, it's a lot of factors in this, right? Like you said,
Yes,
you're testing things. You're always testing things. But then,
testing.
going back to what you said before was that being on the phones, like leads. To be honest with you, are sometimes the easiest thing that you can achieve for a real estate agent. I know a lot of them they think that, oh, I need leads, I need leads, I need leads. Um, the biggest part is the conversion of the lead. Like I think that was the biggest thing that you were saying, because like that person had to be nurtured. You had to say the right things on the phone to get them to trust you. You had to say the right things to get them to like you. You had to have a good enough offer that you was putting out there to make them want to work with you. And then eventually you're able to actually close them and actually sell them a house. So like the conversion mechanism is really bigger than even the leads. Leads, you can turn that on in a minute. I mean, I literally can make 200, 300 leads come in like within a month, like in an instant. But if you don't know how to convert them, then it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, you got to know how to convert. Sorry to cut you off. I was talking to one of my mentees one day, and she came from an agent that told her, don't go show a property, which we hear this, don't go show a property until they sign that exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. Well, for me, when I get a lead that comes in because of with realtor.com and they have the address, I take a chance. And I think, like Robin was saying the other day in one of our trainings, Robin Amos said, I give them a onesie. And sometimes all I'm doing is I get the lead. I don't even talk to them about nothing, James. I'm like, hello, this is Mica Callaway. When can you see 125 Mary Street? All I'm talking about is seeing the property. Because once I get you face to face, then I'm going to do the rest. And I'm like, okay, when can you see it? Okay, great. Are you working with an agent now? No, I'm not working with anybody. Awesome. Okay, let me schedule this appointment. And I'm actually, don't hang up. I'm turning on my phone. I'm going into my app. I'm looking at it to see if I can schedule the time. What's a good time for you? 2:00. Okay, 2:00. I'll see you there. Have an amazing day. I'm done with that. I'm just on to the next. I'm meeting them at the property at 2:00. I'm converting them.
Yeah, but like even when you get to the property, I mean, I know you, right? I mean, there's a process. There's not, I mean, you talked about your database. There's a process, things that you say, things, there's a routine that happens.
Yeah.
So like, what does that look like?
So basically, I can use last Saturday, for example, Miss DeLegal, she just went binding yesterday. She was like, I want to see this property, but she had already saw it with another agent that morning from Redfin. And I was like, okay, did you sign any agreement? She said, no, but the reason why I want the property is because something about FHA was a down payment assistance option. So I find myself to really navigate that system. So I met her there. Actually, I met her with my husband, Rodney, because we was headed home. I said, well, come on, let me meet you over here at the property. I didn't know anything but meeting her there. And that's when I realized that house was not going to go FHA. I said, this house is not going to go FHA. You're going to need to find a house that's FHA eligible. At that point, she had already been looking for a house for a year. She's already been working with 2 other agents. So I didn't want to bombard her with the pressure of signing an agreement or anything. So I said to her, let me find you a house. Let me see what you're looking for. Again, I work with my phone and my app. I pulled up my FMLS. I'm automatically asking her what she wants. I said, well, as soon as I get to my computer, I'm going to start looking for some properties. And I sent her some properties. We went looking the next day. And again, I never, which is bad because some people are going to look at this video and be like, she out there showing property without exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. Well, yes, that's what I do sometimes. So I went out there and all I know is she wanted the property and I made it happen and she's under contract.
You problem solved. That's what you did. You saw that there was a problem. You saw the situation. You was knowledgeable about the FHA program and what was going to qualify and what was not going to qualify.
Yeah.
And you dealt with it at that particular time. So
and also I had those conversations. I was explaining to the client, the agents, you cannot go show a property like you're the show and tell girl. I'm not doing show and tell. I'm doing a transactional pivot because you have to get to the transactional close. And, Sekou Piles taught us all of that on all these trainings. And you say to them, what's keeping us from writing the offer on this house today?
Yep.
That's the question. And they're like, no, it's this. Okay, with this particular house she's under contract with, it was some things that needed to be addressed. I said, well, let me write an offer. I just said, we don't know. Either they're going to do three things. They're going to accept, counter, or deny our offer. But let's go in and ask them for what you need. We don't have nothing to lose. Wrote the offer. And matter of fact, I wrote 2 offers that day. And I knew that she needed some closing costs. One of the offers I wrote for asked for $10,000 in closing costs. Why not? The other one I asked for $12,750 worth of closing costs because the listing was only 2% and I needed to roll my 1% in there, which was $2,650. So I was rolling that one in there. And guess what? The one for the next morning, we had 2 accepted offers. One countered because they wasn't going to give her $10,000. The second house said they would give her $12,750 sold as is. And she took the second one. So sometimes I'm writing 2 offers at one time too.
So that's really what I was getting around to. That is your process. You have a process. I know you. I know Mica.
Yeah.
She has a process.
Sometimes I'm writing 2 or 3 offers at one time, giving all the same deadline, waiting to see who gonna pick first.
That's it. I mean, and that's how you do it. So you got to have the right, and that's part of conversion as well. One part of conversion is to get them to want to work with you. The other part of conversion is to get them comfortable enough to write the offer. And you got to have all those things in place. And just kind of going back to what you were saying about the buyer brokerage agreement, like and I've done trainings on this, right? Like what's the real purpose of a buyer brokerage agreement?
It doesn't hold up the weight. I found that out earlier on in my career with a client, and they went out there to new construction. I'm like, well, I got an exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. It's signed, and they got my name on it, and they're working with me. And it caused a lot of adversity in my real estate career because you cannot control. So now if my clients say they going to new construction, I'm like, I'm going with you. I'll meet you there. Don't drive by without me because you want to be protected. And I let them know that. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to throw that exclusive buyer brokerage agreement in the offer when I write it.
Yep. I mean, the thing of it is like we're not anti-buyer brokerage agreement by no means. So if you're doing a buyer brokerage agreement, definitely do it. But I mean, I did a training about this, and it was like the real purpose is to actually, in my opinion, to set your feet because you get to say what your worth is when it comes to that home. You find that person a home. So case in point, I've talked to people that they've signed buyer brokerage agreements and they, even with me, but yet they go buy a house with somebody else. So like, so what real, leverage do you have with that other than trying to throw it in their face or something like that? But that's just like I said, that's my thing. We're not anti-buyer brokerage agreement for anybody.
No, we're definitely not. We're not anti because we know we needed to go get the transaction to closing. I'm just saying that some people are hesitant to sign it and they've never met you.
Yeah.
And also, if you talk to a client and they've been through 2 or 3 agents and they're telling you that on the phone, you may not want to work with them. So I don't want to work with everybody. I realize that too, because I had a client, I felt like she wasn't communicating well with me. I'm texting her, I'm calling her. She take her 2 days to call me back. Don't respond to no emails. That doesn't work for me. And so I had to let her know because of the communication styles that we use, this isn't a good fit for me. And so I let her go. But guess what? I didn't have to worry about terminating an exclusive buyer brokerage agreement because I never signed one with her because I'm learning to see if I want to work with you too.
Well, see, but that's a mind shift, right? Because like once your mind shift to the point where you know that there's enough, I can generate enough clients for myself where I'm gonna be good. You can do things like that, like But if you're thinking that this is my only chance to have a closing, and you're gonna hold on and squeeze that buyer, and you're gonna take them. They literally gonna take you through a headache and do hell and back in those type situations. Like one of the biggest things when I was growing my business that I loved the most was that I was able to spend more time helping the clients that I like to work with.
Yes.
And the ones that wasn't people that I like to work with. Well, I was okay with letting them go to somewhere else so they can find somebody that they like to work with.
You know what? I literally just got to this place in my business where I realized that I don't fit for everybody. I don't fit. I'm not the best mentee to everybody. I'm not the best agent for everybody. And I no longer want to be the superwoman that's everybody's superwoman. Okay. I'm okay with that. And I realized that sometimes it could be so much stress working with a particular client that it's not worth it for me. And remember, I'm dealing with depression sometimes. And if I feel like it's weighing down on my mindset or my capacity to operate and function at a healthy state, I let it go. I had to let a listing go 2 weeks ago because the seller, I had the house listed for 16 days. I've done open houses, agent caravans, no showings at all. It's priced perfect. It's in Loganville, Georgia. And he literally called me and said that he had this other agent that's been on TV that said she could sell it faster than me. And I basically said, I think he should work with her because she's been on TV. She can probably sell it faster than me.
That's the smile. Well, all right. So like just kind of recapping a little bit. I think some just nuggets from what Mica has been talking about, and what we've been talking about in of itself is like investing in your business is always key. You got to have different pillars. When it comes to lead generation, and then when you do make the money, you got to pull some of the money out in order to reinvest back in the marketing to keep everything going. And then even on top of that, just being hungry. How did you stay on the hunt? That's how you put it. Stay on the
Hunting,
hunt. So being able to
hunting.
like step out there and always be searching for the next opportunity, always be searching for the next deal. And I honestly, what I think for you, and I know you said you take some pills and some things like that, some natural stuff for depression or whatever. But what I found and what I think is like the hunt is your way getting over
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're going through at that time.
Yeah, yeah. It's the drive. It's like, okay, it's like wanting to hit a goal. So because I've been in sales my whole life, I'm programmed mentally to be goal oriented. And I also know that I've been on 100% commission for some of my career. You know what I'm saying? So real estate is the same thing, but you don't know you can achieve something until it's achieved. Okay. And so when you were talking about don't quit, the hunt is part of not quitting because you don't know if you're going to get a deal, if you're going to get a closing transaction or a new client if you haven't done your part. So every day I'm hunting and I'm preparing myself to meet new clients or get a deal under contract. And also, it doesn't matter what price point. You said something about commissions. I realize now for the first time that I'm not so commission driven. I used to be commission driven. It used to be all about the numbers, but now my success, I want it to be based off of who I'm helping. It's not all about the money anymore. Like, I felt like, oh my God, I'm gonna make more money. I'm gonna be more happier. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I realized the more money I made, the more issues I had. Relationships became different and hard. So money's great, but the one thing that still fuels me is the closing table when the client is the first time home buyer or they're going to the closing table with less money out of pocket and they're using down payment assistance. And those things I realize they bring me fuel and they make me happy. And the check is like it's just like a cherry on the top.
Yeah, love it, love it. I mean, I love just continually watching you to grow and build your business and do the things, in the right order, get knocked back, step forward 3 times, get knocked back 2, step forward 5 times. I'm just loving that whole process in of itself. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I want to say this. I'm watching you too, and I'm always watching, everybody that has paved the way. Okay, keep in mind you've been in real estate longer than me, James. Like it's certain things I want to do. I want to do these lives. I want to have it in my calendar where I could do a live every Thursday. I see so many amazing people. I don't know if you've ever interviewed like my sister-in-law, Lita Height. She's a real estate boss and coach. She's got contract under contract under contract, and she has the time to make it all pretty. Like now, I got clients and I'm going to closings, but I haven't even made posts and I don't even have templates made. So it be the simple stuff like People like, you got clothes, girl, but I want my post to look like yours, and I want my lives to look like yours. And you're always going to be putting pressure on yourself to do something and find the time to do it, you know?
And it's always another level, and you're stepping up. I mean, you got a lot of people looking up to you and watching what you're doing. So just keep it up with that. So uh,
Yeah.
once again, man, I just want to thank you, for sharing and being open, and just kind of giving up your, your things that you've been through, unapologetic, right? And so,
Yeah. And I can't take it away from God. I will say that I'm very spiritual. You know, I love the fact now that I know who I am and whose I am, because when storms come, I'm like, man, I'm such a threat. Oh my God. Like, I look at it different. It's like, it's not like, well, it's me. It's like, okay, God, what you doing now, and what are we going to do together? You know, at first I used to be like, I'm sad. I'd be crying in my bed. I couldn't go show no properties and that. Now I'm like, bring it on.
yeah.
Bring it on. What's up? Bring it on. Okay, now we're going to move on from this, and they can be distractions. So I want people to know that you got to be very focused on what your personal goals are, and don't allow anybody else's issues to be your issues. When you're doing your business, today I'm doing my business, and it works well for me in my marriage, because now I'm 10 months into my marriage, and I have the perfect mate. Oh my God. God couldn't have blessed me, man. My husband is my partner. He knows me. He knows that Mica love real estate, and if it's an emergency, it's a fire, call me. Other than that, he's not gonna bother me, and I'm not gonna bother him. When we're working, we're working. We respect each other's jobs. But I learned the balance, and I just want people to know that it's important to be um, connected to the right mate. And I think that, I didn't realize that until I got into situations with real estate. Like, you got to talk. How much money you spending on leads today? A whole bunch.
They
Don't
got to
bother
trust
me.
you.
A whole
They,
bunch.
yeah, they got to trust you. And I mean,
They
he
got
is
to
he is a
trust
good dude.
you. Yeah. And you're gonna be talking to different. I couldn't be married to somebody that wasn't secure. You got to be secure, because you're gonna be like, man, I'm talking to men, grown men, executives, bartenders, entrepreneurs. We all trying to get to the closing table. That's all this is about. So being secure and just being with the right mate that understands your goals and your business is very important. I cannot say that I'm doing what I'm doing by myself. I'm doing it better because I have the right mate.
Love it, love it. Uh-oh, somebody feeling, a little mushy today.
Yep. We
Yeah,
we are doing something together, prayerfully, soon, and you guys will see it, because I'm gonna have the videographers and all that stuff out there. So
I know you will.
yeah, I'm
Once
gonna go
again,
extra.
we do these every Thursday, and interviewing an agent that's killing it. Mika's been so transparent with us. I mean, we appreciate you. Got to have you back on again, so you can talk about the new thing that you're kind of teasing here, but not really saying it. So
Yeah,
when it happens, we
yeah.
got to have you back. So.
Okay, I love it, James. Bye,
All right.
guys.
If anybody want to reach out, they want to know anything about real estate, you can reach out to me, or you call Mika, ask questions or whatever. You want to know what partnering look like, you can go to jameshmassey.com. I'll go ahead and do that. And just kind of, check out, some of the stuff that we're doing to help agents. All right. Until the next time, Mika, love it. Peace out.
Bye.